Thank you very much, Dan. Good afternoon. Thank you to IFPRI for the invitation to be in this building again. So, in 13 days, 12 days, more than 125 leaders from around the world, plus hundreds of CEOs are going to meet in a leadership summit on climate change. I mean, two things to be aware about, I think. One is it's more than 5-6 years since climate has been discussed by heads of state. And I think what the Secretary General is trying to do is say, you know, amid this rather chaotic 2014 that we're having, this is your business. This is not delegable to ministers of environment, environment protection agencies, and negotiators. This is about the re-engineering of the economy, because climate is now having an impact on every sector of the economy, agriculture being very, very much part of that. And then the second question then to ask as a citizen, as a voter, as an observer is, what does material leadership on climate look like? I mean, if you're a head of state, what do we want you to do? What we want you to do is drive a climate-smart approach through the economy, drive the economy in a way that it becomes lower carbon and that it becomes more resilient now. Because that's where the future jobs will be, that's where the competitiveness, and that's how we will de-risk our agriculture sector, our energy sector, etc. So we're looking for material leadership from leaders, and I'm happy to talk about that in the Q&A. So what does that mean for agriculture? So we all know that agriculture is extremely vulnerable to the changes in the weather. In Fiji in 2004, in the floods, it wiped 140% off the productive value of farmers in Fiji. There's no way you're going to have a viable agricultural sector with the kind of volatility and frequency of extreme weather events that we're beginning to see. But agriculture is also at the heart of the problem as well. The way in which we manage land is going to be a big part of the emissions profile of the world going forward. So managing land, forest and agriculture together in a way in which that people thrive, farmers do well, we feed ourselves nutritiously in very, very difficult circumstances with precipitation patterns changing, heat spots, etc. This is the agriculture challenge. Now, we believe that there is a triple win, climate-smart agriculture. We think we can increase yields. We think we can do well by farmers. We think we can produce nutritious food. And we think we can reduce emissions from the way in which we farm going forward. But that's going to require the agriculture sector, the research sector, the nutrition sector, the public health sector, foresters, land managers, government, the private sector, and industry to come together in order to be able to do it. We think it's possible. But we have a broken food system today, and I think that's the starting point. Climate change is simply a threat intensifier. It's making what is already perilous even more difficult. That broken food system is sending 800 million people to bed hungry today. It's providing a situation where the majority of adults in the world today are either under or overnourished, where we are throwing away 40% of our food on a land and water system which can't sustain us. So if we simply accept that it's not an agricultural productivity problem, it's not a public health problem, that we have a broken food system, then we can start talking about how will we nutritiously feed 9 billion people in the next 20 years when land and water are scarce and are going to become unviable in certain parts of the world, with increased uncertainty, with changes in weather. Then I think we start to have the conversation between the extreme productivity of the research sector. I mean, we know that we can rise to this challenge. We know that public health can rise to the challenge. We know the nutrition sector can rise to the challenge. But we're all going to have to come together with a shared problem definition and solve the problem together. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so our next person is Cynthia Rosenzweig with NASA, and been on many panels with her and one of the leading experts on these issues.